a great fighter.
Okay. You think he's a great fighter? But what do they think? What do you think about them comparing him to you? I mean, you're a legend, my friend.
Well, he'll be one too if he keeps fighting.
Oh, okay.
So why I think that is I've never seen anyone who was as big as this kid move as well as he does. For you to be that big, like 6'5", 250 pounds and only 20 years old, to move that well on your feet, to have
talents are so crazy, especially at this age, okay? It is so cool. What is he, 20, 21? And you know, he's starting to get compared to Mike Tyson as far as his trajectory.
Mike Tyson had high praise for Moses Itauma, saying he's cut from a different cloth than most fighters today. Unlike many boxers of this era, Itauma brings real hunger, sharp focus, and the drive that makes true champions. Tyson pointed out that greatness isn't just about talent. It comes from discipline, staying consistent, and learning from setbacks with respect. With those qualities, Itauma is already making noise in the heavyweight scene and looks on track to rise above the rest, carving out his spot as one of boxing's future.
But if you listen, this is the thing. It has nothing to do with you losing. It depends on how you lose. You lose spectacularly, hey, they're gonna always use you. Depends on how you lose. You can lose and win at the same time.
Yeah, your stock can go up.
Yeah.
Some people be like, "Oh, you undefeated? You don't know? You don't understand?" It's like, no, I do understand.
Yes, you do understand.
I came out on top, but I took the risk, and I had some close ones. But I also remember my last loss and how that made me feel, which made me not want to, lose again. And I just think that, given the climate of the game now with the social, like, you get crucified in boxing if you lose a fight.
Because they don't, the people that watch boxing now don't understand boxing. They look at it from a physical perspective.
I agree with that.
They don't understand it at all.
Man, Cuss is grooming you and prepping you. And I saw a quote from him that, man, that thing almost brought me to tears. He said, at his age, he said, how do you stay alive? What's your motivation? He said, I'm alive because Mike gives me hope to stay alive. I have a reason with Mike here.
Ariel Helwani, one of the most respected voices in combat sports, spoke highly of Moses Itauma's rare success at such a young age. At only 20, he's already considered one of the top heavyweight prospects worldwide. Helwani even mentioned that Itauma could realistically break Mike Tyson's record as the youngest heavyweight champion, a record that has long stood as a symbol of youthful greatness in boxing. This isn't hype, it's backed by Itauma's steady climb, sharp performances, and growing reputation. When veterans and insiders take notice, it proves this isn't just potential, but real progress. The fact that people believe he could top Tyson's record shows how seriously the boxing world views him.
Outside the boxing, but he's back. He's got his new fight is March the 1st in Bournemouth. So yeah, he's rolling the dice again. He's just had a little boy, so he took some time out.
Okay. When did you start to really feel like this could be a career, that you had a special gift? How soon into that, training journey did you start to realize, like, oh wow, this is what they're saying about me is different?
It's after I sparred Lawrence Okoli. My trainer at the time, he messaged me saying that what you've done today was crazy, unbelievable. If you stick at it, you can be one of the greatest boxers to live, heavyweight, sorry. And then I was like, okay, I'm not bad, but at this point, I'm a two-time European gold medalist, two-time national champion, but I still didn't think I was like,
What separates Moses Itauma from other young fighters isn't just his age, it's how smoothly he moves in the ring. Experts have pointed out his rare combination of speed and agility, traits not often seen in heavyweights. In this division, fighters are usually known for power and size, not quick footwork or sharp reactions. But Itauma breaks that mold. At just 20, he already moves with the slickness usually found in smaller weight classes. His footwork lets him cut angles, slip punches, and launch sharp counters that throw opponents off balance. This mix of size and skill is what excites boxing experts most. It shows he's not just a heavy hitter, but a complete fighter who can outthink.
As to why I think that is, I've never seen anyone who was as big as this kid move as well as he does. For you to be that big, like 6'5", 250 pounds, and only 20 years old, to move that well on your feet, to have that level of speed and power, when have we ever seen that before in the history of boxing? Ever. In the last 30 years even. You look at Lennox Lewis, he didn't fucking move like that for the weight. No way. As good as he was, he didn't move like that. AJ, hell of an athlete, he didn't move like that. Tyson Fury was a good mover for a big bloke. He doesn't move like that. He hasn't got that explosive speed. We're witnessing something so fucking special here. This is the most exciting combat sports athlete, any sport, MMA, boxing, whatever you want to talk about, in the world. And he's 20 years old. It's unbelievable. And I get that a lot of people have doubted him because it's hard to believe that guys whom you've respected for the last 15 years can get in a boxing ring against a 20-year-old kid and get the shit beaten out of them. And that emotional connection will make you want to, oh, maybe this will happen. Oh, Dillian White's, he's training hard, he looks in shape. No. It doesn't matter what version of Dillian White shows up. Dillian White could go back through his entire fucking career and pick any version of himself out. You're getting smoked by Moses Itauma because the level difference, it's fucking huge. That's why I only gave him 2 rounds. And I respect Dillian White. I think he is a tough guy. He has had a good career, but just look at the way Dillian White moves, man, and look at the way Moses Itauma moves. This was a really easy one to predict, actually. People are comparing him to Mike Tyson. It's a hell of a compliment.
Showbiz, the adult, compared Moses Itauma's fight with Dillian White to one of Mike Tyson's most famous breakout moments. Just like Tyson, who silenced doubters when he crushed Michael Spinks in under 2 minutes, many wondered if Itauma was ready for tests like White. That question was answered fast. Itauma showed brutal power, calmness under pressure, and a ruthless edge that reminded fans of Tyson's rise. The story was almost identical, a young fighter under the microscope proving himself in stunning fashion. This knockout wasn't just another win. It was a bold statement that demanded
Experience bout and stuff like that. And, you know, we never see Moses in this situation, something like that. And I responded by saying, this is going to be Mike Tyson Spinks. Remember that?
Moses will get hit so hard the first. He going to be gun shy for the rest of the fight, like Ryan versus Rolly. It's different level. He ain't been tested. That's what he said about. I remember those exact words when Iron Mike Tyson fought Michael Spinks. They said Mike Tyson never been in a ring with somebody of the caliber of Spinks. I'll never forget. So let's see.
And damn it, how identical this shit is just mind-blowing. Check this out.
Dillian White looks a little big-eyed for me. He looks a little nervous for me, man. You just gotta make 5 rounds. He looking down and shit. He looked like Michael Spinks, man.
When people first started comparing Moses Itauma to Mike Tyson, it was both a compliment and a challenge. Tyson is one of the most legendary heavyweights ever, remembered for his power, dominance, and youth. But Itauma has made it clear he doesn't want to simply walk Tyson's path. He wants to write his own story and build his own legacy. Like Anthony Joshua and other modern stars who created their own chapters, Itauma shows wisdom far beyond his age. At only 20, he understands greatness doesn't come from being the next Tyson, but from being unforgettable as himself. His focus on being remembered as Moses Itauma, and not a copy, shows the mindset of a champion determined to succeed.
It's a really good thing, though, when people are talking about you and people are, talking about you being maybe the next youngest world heavyweight champion after Mike Tyson, trying to break that record. You're 19 years of age now. Talking about your last performance, Marius Wack, big guy, strong guy, been in there, seen it, done it, boxed everyone, was expected to give you rounds. You went in there and took him apart in 2, right? So them expectations are obviously going to be talked about. People are obviously going to do that and compare you with the likes of Mike Tyson, and that is a good thing. And I think the champions feed off that sort of stuff, and that's what you do. You don't let the pressure get you, but you deliver in your performances.
Yeah, like do you know what? I've kind of put myself with kind of making the comparison with me and Mike Tyson with completely different styles or whatnot, but I never really wanted to compare to no one. I kind of want to set my own path, like I said multiple times. Obviously, Joshua, Fury, Usyk, Tyson, all them, they've set their own path, so I want to set my own.
I think it's the age thing, isn't it? With the Mike Tyson thing, where he become the youngest world heavyweight champion, 20 years of age and X amount of months, whatever that was. You're 19. You know, you put yourself in a position now that Frank Warren was on here talking about you boxing Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clark. He said tomorrow, now. That's the sort of level he sees you at.
Of course. If you look at my last fight, obviously that's where they will get their confidence from.
A day, Oladipo shared a view many in boxing agree with. Not every fighter needs countless tough battles to prove themselves. Some show championship qualities before a belt is even in sight. Itauma's dominant win over Dillian Whyte was one of those moments. He didn't need a long back-and-forth war to show he belongs. In just one fight, his speed, timing, power, and composure spoke louder than a drawn-out test ever could. Oladipo's point reflects how quickly Itauma has changed opinions. He's turned doubters into believers, proving that sometimes greatness is
He is a heavyweight that moves like a lightweight. Sorry, a light heavyweight. Certainly doesn't move like a lightweight, but a light heavyweight. He just darts in and out so quickly. Like, nothing about him physically looks 240 pounds. Bear in mind, that's the same weight as Daniel Dubois. It's the same height. It's only 10 pounds less than AJ. It's the same height as Dillian Whyte. I'm sorry, same weight as Dillian Whyte. But you look at his frame, he doesn't look that heavy. It's almost like he's very, I don't know, maybe a lot of that weight's in his legs, but he seems to move and glide around the ring so freely. So yeah, look, I'm very excited about him. I thought that if I watched it again, because obviously I made the video yesterday immediately after watching the fight, so I was very high. And I thought, okay, let me watch it again and maybe calm down a little bit. If anything, I've got higher. If anything, I've gone higher. I think he's incredible. I was at the airport with Lee Wood. And Lee Wood, obviously trained by Ben Davison. Lee Wood sees him train all the time. And he was like, dude, I'm not surprised. Like, I see this guy train all the time. I see what he does. I see who he spars. And sometimes you got to listen to those people. Again, we're not privy to any of that. All we see is a couple of rounds or 2 minutes on fight night. We don't see anything else, where people like Lee see it week in, week out. So look, I think he's incredible. Let's not waste no time. I've already wasted 5 minutes or so. Let's talk about potential opponents. And this doesn't include, again, the top 3 guys. So this doesn't include Alexander Usyk. I'll tell you who it doesn't include. It doesn't include Alexander Usyk.
Even with Itauma's clear victory, some critics tried to dismiss it by saying Dillian Whyte had an injury. But analysts quickly pushed back, pointing out that Whyte looked healthy, confident, and ready when he entered the ring. To suggest otherwise takes away from Itauma's skill and execution. This happens often in boxing. When young fighters rise too fast, people look for excuses to discount them. But the truth is, Itauma's speed, timing, and fearlessness told the whole story. The injury talk only shows how reluctant some are to give credit to rising stars. Still, his performance left no doubt. His win was real, convincing, and fully earned.
Discuss. There's always and often rumors after a fight when a fighter gets blown out there early that there's some kind of injury. But what really intrigued me building up to this fight, and on the live stream, people who were seeing me, I was kind of confused by it, was why this has become a 10-rounder suddenly. I thought this was a 12-round fight. It was for various international belts and all that kind of stuff. I didn't see any reason why this wouldn't be a 12-rounder, especially when it's a pay-per-view main event. And I assumed that the reduction to 10 rounds indicated that there may have been an injury to Itauma, with him being the A side. But then seeing the fact that Dillian Whyte walked second to the ring tells me he maybe had a bit more negotiating power in this than I first thought, which then leads me to believe that potentially this rumor of him having an injury is actually true, and he wanted to reduce it to 10 rounds because of some sort of pre-fight issue. Now look, again, we don't really know if there was an issue with Whyte, but he did look a bit sort of tender, and he walked to the ring somewhat gingerly. I didn't read anything into that because I wasn't sure if he was just relaxed. But look, some people are saying he was injured. Sonny Edwards has posted that on Instagram. Sonny Edwards is obviously someone more in the know than I will ever be in terms of having his finger on the button, hearing rumors and all that kind of stuff. So I'm inclined to believe there may be some truth to it. But at the same time, once again, I want to reiterate, I always predicted Itauma to win this fight. I just didn't think he'd do it as quickly as he did. This might explain why Dillian Whyte couldn't even last a few rounds. But at the same time, when I watched back those tactical details that I just showed you, that's stuff Dillian Whyte's always done. That's nothing to do with a leg injury. And I fully believe that Itauma's work in there was smart. It was an executed game plan, and would a Dillian Whyte with a leg injury have behaved any differently, or sorry, with or without a leg injury behaved any differently? I don't think so. I think that the issue with Whyte is, and the reason he couldn't take him rounds, and I texted Jamie, me and Jamie were texting afterwards from Boxing Live, And I said to him, the problem with White is his weaknesses are too well documented. That's why he was not able to go as long as a Balogun, in my opinion. Everybody knows what Dillian White's issues are. I suppose that I just felt he could get in there and survive a bit longer, fight very, very reserved and cautious, and take him rounds and then try and get him to make mistakes. But he couldn't even do that. And I think the biggest thing I've learned from this is that Itauma can execute under pressure. And because there was pressure in this fight, don't get me wrong. Now, he said after the fight that the Balogun fight was actually more pressure for him because he was supposed to win that so easily. Whereas with this, he saw it as a genuine contest. He felt more relaxed. To me, that's fine. You can think that way if you want, but to me, there was more pressure in this fight.
Mark Tibbs, Dillian White's former trainer, added extra weight to the discussion with his reaction. When a veteran coach admits he was shocked by a knockout, it shows just how big of a moment it was. His response echoed what fans felt watching Itauma stop White in the very first round. This wasn't the outcome most expected. White was supposed to be a tough test, a chance to measure Itauma's progress. Instead, the fight turned into a showcase of raw strength and killer instinct. For someone as experienced as Tibbs to openly admit the impact of that finish was a rare and honest moment. One that confirmed Itauma as one of boxing's brightest young stars.
Speechless, really, mate. It was what we all expected, really. Was hoping we could get 4 or 5 rounds out, see where Moses was at, but he's that good. He's that good. I thought Dillian shaped up well. I thought he was in fantastic nick. But when you're at your twilight years and you're working on your weight, etc., it's taxing. It's taxing on yourself. And I'm pretty sure he had to make some pains. I'm not judging him, but you know, he's trained in a hell of a lot of training camps, and he's very, very diligent in his training. But it just, you know, it's like grandfather time for him, if you get me. So it was a difficult task, and we all knew that anyway. But it shows that Moses is been emotionally tested, and obviously not. He's still got to be built physically. Still got to be built physically against someone that's going to give him rounds. So there's the problem. He's that good. He's a phenomenal mover for a heavyweight. Phenomenal. Carries his power with his movement for a heavyweight. And the shot selection he threw yesterday was, you know, what you'd expect from someone of a high intelligent fighter like him. So yeah, credit to Moses. Done a fantastic job, and I wasn't surprised.
Was it tough for you to watch a bit? I mean, you've worked with Dillian for years. You know, you've had really good wins with him and good fights with him. Was it tough to see that version last night?
Well, you know what? I know Dillian's mindset and what a dog he is, and with respect, you know, when I use that term dog, he's a real G. He's a real dog.
While most celebrated Itauma's big victory, Sam Jones took a more cautious approach. He noted that the fight ended so quickly that it didn't answer some key questions, like how Itauma handles real pressure, how strong his chin is, or how well he fights in the later rounds. From that angle, the White fight left some things unknown. And he's right. Greatness isn't proven in just one night, no matter how spectacular it looks. Future fights will have to test those areas. Still, one thing is certain: Itauma has put himself at the center of the heavyweight.
It's like he didn't take away. It doesn't really ask the questions. We don't know anything new about Moses. We know he's special. We know he's fast. We know he can punch. We know he's just. He looks the real deal, doesn't he? But he didn't answer any questions. It was pretty much one of the easiest fights of his career, if not the easiest fight of his career last night.
Were you disappointed in Dillian's performance at all?
No, because look, he's 37, 38. I mean, I tweeted on the ring walk, he don't look at the races. There was no wolf howl. There was no, like, you know what I mean? Dillian's aggressive. Dillian's an aggressive guy. Like, I've not felt that. I felt like it's been a fed up Dillian. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was not the Dillian White we're used to seeing. But look, it's hard because you don't want to downplayed Moses' performance because, look, Moses has to go in there and beat who's put in front of him. The matchmaking was perfect. It's a great scalp. He's 20 years old. Deserves all the credit in the world. But, again, we have to judge on what we saw on Dillian's side, and he wasn't at the races.
We're hearing that he went into the ring with a possible injury. Is there any that you've heard on your end?
Yeah, I've heard it all week. But, look,